the same base object. At this point, we can make some of the objects unique, changing all the rest of the objects still propagates through the instances. Now, if we want to re-instance those objects, we can select them again and execute the same code. And now we are back to 10 instances. When collapsing the modifier stack, the relationship is also lost. Only the single object is being collapsed to editable mesh, while all the other objects are still instanced. This means that we can take the base object of one of the boxes and assign back to the editable mesh object in order to recreate the instancing, but we can also go the other way around. We could theoretically even collapse all the 10 objects to editable mesh, giving us 10 completely unique objects, and then select them all and execute the same line, which gives us 10 instances sharing the same editable mesh base object. At this point, we can change the editable mesh at any level, and the changes are going to propagate across all the objects. This works also with referencing. If you would create a box, clone it to copy again 9 times to get 10 unique objects, then add a single bend modifier to one of the objects and perform the re-instancing again, the boxes are now instanced, but the bend modifier has been kept as a reference. You can see the line denoting the point of referencing, and the bend modifier has not been shared across all the 10 objects, but remains local to the single object that used to have it before the point of instancing. If we take the bend object and move it below the reference line, it will become an instance, and all the 10 objects are now instances again. It is probably obvious, but the simple base object instancing operation has further, even more amazing implications. Let's say you have created a box as a placeholder, applied some modifiers like a squeeze modifier with a certain curvature, and then cloned this object a couple of times to serve as columns. Then you decide that the cross-section of your columns should be circular, and you want to replace the base object with a cylinder. You create a cylinder, select all the original 10 instances, and type in $sign base object is equal to cylinder01 base object. This replaces the base object in all the 10 instances with the base object of the newly created cylinder, and changing the properties of the base object in any of the instances changes all the other instances. The squeeze modifier is applied as an instance across the 10 original objects, but is above the reference line, so it's not being used by the cylinder. Changing the curvature here affects only the original 10 columns. The same way we can use any other geometry object, like for example a pyramid with some height segments. We simply select the original columns and change the name to pyramid 01 base object, and so on.